Before we begin this night prayer, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Your support helps us continue creating these moments of peace and comfort for you. The room is quiet, but my mind is not. Thoughts crowd the edges of the dark, lining up like restless runners at the start of a race. Each one demands attention. What I forgot today, what I must do tomorrow, what I fear might never change. My body is tired, but my mind paces the floor of my skull, unwilling to rest. I turn on my side, then back again, as if a different position might trick my thoughts into silence. But they follow me, quick and insistent. What about that conversation? What about that bill? What about the ache that has no name? The questions multiply like sparks from flint, striking the darkness until it feels crowded with fire. God, I whisper into the pillow, I cannot make them stop. My own voice sounds small, but even small voices matter. I remind myself, prayer is not the absence of noise. Prayer is bringing the noise to you. Here they are, I say. Every running thought, every restless fragment, take them. I cannot carry them to bed. I picture my thoughts as birds flapping wildly in a cage. They beat their wings against one another, against the bars, against the air itself. One by one, I imagine opening the cage door and letting them fly into your sky. They are not gone forever, but they are not mine to control tonight. You see them, I murmur. You hold tomorrow, let me rest tonight. The ceiling above me is plain, yet I let it become a canvas. Onto it I paint each thought in turn, not to dwell on it, but to surrender it. One brushstroke for regret, one for worry, one for unfinished tasks, one for fear. Then, slowly, I imagine you washing the canvas with soft color blue of peace, gold of gentleness, silver of quiet. The clutter fades beneath your My breathing begins to slow. Inhale, let go. Exhale, let God. The rhythm steadies me, a lullaby written into my own body. I place my hand over my chest and feel the beat beneath it. It tells me I am alive. It tells me I am kept. Racing thoughts may circle endlessly, but beneath them, my heart moves with quiet faithfulness. Calm me, I pray, as you calm storms. Speak peace to the waves in my mind. Let them rest, because you are near. Imagine Jesus standing at the edge of my restless thoughts, saying the same word he said over the sea. Be still, and for a moment, they listen. Here is the blessing for this sleepless hour. May my thoughts learn to rest as the body rests. May the noise of worry be exchanged for the silence of trust. May every racing circle become a spiral that leads me back to God. And may the night, though long, become a place of gentle keeping. So I close my eyes again, not demanding sleep, but inviting it. I trust that rest is a gift, not an achievement. Night gathers itself around me, but my thoughts refuse to follow. They dart from one memory to another, from one fear to the next. I close my eyes and feel them racing as if each had something urgent to prove. Sleep seems far away. I sigh and whisper, God, I am too full of noise. Then I picture a river, slow, wide, steady. Its surface glimmers under moonlight, its current sure but gentle. I imagine standing at its bank, with a bundle of thoughts pressed to my chest, the arguments replaying, the worries about tomorrow's tasks, the ache of old regrets. My arms grow weary, holding them. Here, I say, opening my hands. One by one, I place each thought on the water. They take shape like leaves, some small, some large, some torn. The current receives them without complaint, carrying them downstream, away from me, toward the place only. You can hold. At first, I want to chase them, to snatch them back before they vanish. But the river teaches me, once released, they belong to its flow. My part is only surrender. The water does the rest. A thought about unfinished work floats past, bobbing, then gone. Another about someone's opinion of me follows, spinning slowly, then slipping away. Even heavier thoughts, fear of failure, dread of tomorrow, become lighter when laid on the current. This is yours, I whisper. Carry it where I cannot. The more I release, the calmer I feel. My chest loosens, my breathing slows. The cage of racing thoughts opens, and quiet begins to perch inside me like a bird folding its wings. I sit on the riverbank in my imagination until the water is dotted with leaves or drifting downstream. I no longer feel burdened by them. I am simply here, watching, breathing. My body remembers that it too can rest. Loneliness sometimes tells me my thoughts are all I have, but you remind me that peace is also mine. It is not a denial of thought. It is the gentle letting go of what does not belong in my keeping tonight. I lie back against the pillow, carrying the sound of water with me. A steady hush, a rhythm of surrender. My heart matches it. Slow, soft, sure. God, I pray, be my river. Take every thought that races and carry it into your mercy. Teach me to let go again and again until I learn that rest is not emptiness, but truth. Here is the blessing for this night. May my thoughts become leaves, not burdens. May the current of God's care carry them far beyond my reach. May my heart find rhythm in the river's song, and may sleep come like a gentle tide, filling the spaces left open by surrender. The room is dark, but inside my head the noise is bright, too bright. Thoughts run fast, flashing like sparks in a storm. They do not ask permission, they ignite without warning. I turn the pillow, shift my body, close my eyes tighter, but the sparks keep flying. God, I whisper, I need a place to put this fire. In my mind's eye, I see a fire already waiting, not the dangerous kind that devours, but a steady flame contained, warm, glowing. Around it the night is calm, and the fire itself feels safe, tended by hands wiser than mine. I walk toward it, arms full of restless thoughts, each one glowing hot, burning my grip. One by one, I throw them in. The thought of something I said wrong today, into the flame. The fear about what might happen tomorrow, into the flame. The looping replay of a conversation that will never change, into the flame. Each lands with a hiss, then dissolves into ember, then into smoke. The fire accepts everything and does not judge. Some thoughts resist. They cling to me, saying, if you let go, who will solve us? I answer with trembling honesty, not me, not tonight. God can tend you now. And I toss them in, even as my hands ache from holding on too long. The fire burns brighter with each surrender. It does not consume me. It consumes the weight I carry. In place of racing sparks in my mind, I feel steady warmth on my skin. My thoughts are no longer a storm. They are fuel transformed into light. I sit before the fire in silence. The flames dance, golden and red, their rhythm steady, hypnotic. My breathing joins that rhythm. Inhale, the flame rises. Exhale, the flame settles. Slowly, my mind learns to mirror the fire's calm instead of its frenzy. Ash begins to gather where I toss the thoughts. But ash is not threat. Ash is proof of release. What once tormented me now lies quiet, gray, and powerless. Thank you, I whisper. Thank you for taking what burned me and turning it into peace. Loneliness sometimes tells me no one is here to help carry the load, but the fire says otherwise. Its glow is presence. Its warmth is companionship. I am not alone at this hearth. You sit with me, tending flames, feeding peace. I gather the blanket around my shoulders, imagining it warmed by the fire's glow. My body relaxes. My jaw unclenches, my heartbeat slows. The racing is over. The fire holds what I cannot. Lord, I pray, burn away what I cannot carry. Leave me only with light to see and warmth to rest in. Teach me to trust that letting go is not losing, but being kept. Here is the blessing for this night. May every restless thought become fuel for God's peace. May the flames consume anxiety and leave only gentleness. May the warmth wrap me like a blanket. May the light guide me into rest. So I lie down again, pillow beneath my head, eyes closing, still seeing the glow behind my lids. The fire will burn through the night, not to harm, but to heal. The ceiling above me feels restless, as though it mirrors the storm in my mind. Thoughts scatter in every direction. Unfinished tasks, sharp regrets, worries that seem louder in the dark. They collide like comets, crashing into one another, sparking, refusing to let me rest. God, I whisper, the sky inside me is chaotic. I need you to make constellations out of this disorder. I close my eyes and imagine stepping outside into an open field. The night stretches wide above me, limitless and deep. At first, the sky looks like my thoughts, crowded, noisy, stars scattered without pattern. But slowly, gently, I sense your hand tracing lines between them. That thought about tomorrow's meeting, glowing too bright, you place it here as one star in a larger constellation. That memory I can't stop replaying. You move it there, giving it distance from others. That old fear that drifts endlessly, you anchor it in a new position, smaller, less frightening, part of a bigger picture. As you arrange, I begin to see shapes forming, not random, not threatening. Stories emerge in the sky, patterns I could not have seen when all the lights were scattered. What once felt like chaos becomes map. My racing thoughts, once frantic, become stars in a design only you understand. I lie back in the grass of the imagined field and let the constellations steady me. They do not erase the stars, but they give them meaning. My thoughts do not vanish, but they take their places. Thank you, I pray, for bringing order where I saw only chaos. The stars burn steady, not rushing. They remind me there is no need to hurry in the night. Rest can come even when everything is unfinished. Rest can come because the sky is held in place, and so am I. My breathing slows as I keep watching. Inhale. I am part of this vastness. Exhale. I am not alone in it. Each breath joins the rhythm of creation, steady and unforced. Loneliness tells me I am a small point in an endless dark, but the stars answer. Small points matter. Together they write stories, guide travelers, mark seasons. My racing thoughts may seem like a burden, but in your hands they become part of something larger. I press my hand to my chest, feeling the steady beat within me. Another star, glowing quietly. My body itself is part of the constellation. I am not outside the sky. I belong in its design. God, I pray, set my thoughts like stars. Place them where they belong. Give them shape. Give them story. Give them rest. Let me lie beneath your order and trust that I am safe within it. Here is the blessing for this night. May every thought find its place in God's sky. May chaos give way to constellations. May the stars remind me that no fragment is wasted. May the vastness remind me I am held. The night stretches on, but my thoughts refuse to sleep. They twist and tangle like overgrown vines, reaching into every corner of my mind. Some are thorny, regrets that scratch me again and again. Some are wild fears that spread without boundary. Some are simply too many, crowding each other until I can't breathe. God, I whisper, my mind is a garden I cannot tend alone. I imagine a gate opening, Through it steps a gardener, gentle, patient, steady. His hands are strong, but they move with kindness. He looks at the wildness of my thoughts, not with scorn, but with compassion. "Let me help," he seems to say. I nod, weary and grateful. He begins with the thorns, those sharp thoughts that pierce me. "You should have done better. You always fail. You are not enough." One by one, he clips them at the root, not violently, but firmly. He gathers them into his arms and carries them away. The sting in my chest softens. Next he moves to the weeds, those endless small worries that sprout everywhere. Will tomorrow go well? Did I forget something? What if I cannot handle what comes? He kneels, loosens the soil, and lifts them gently, roots and all. Without anger, without haste, he clears space. Then he tends the overgrown vines, the looping thoughts that circle endlessly. Conversations I replay, mistakes I relieve, fears I cannot quiet. With patient hands, he untangles them, guiding each strand to a trellis where it can rest instead of strangle. What once choked my peace now becomes ordered growth. In the cleared soil, he kneels again and plants seeds: peace, trust, gratitude, surrender. They are small, almost invisible, but he waters them with his presence. These will grow in time, he assures me. Rest now and let them take root while you sleep. I breathe deeply, as though inhaling the scent of this tended garden. The air feels lighter, fresher. My chest is no longer crowded. My thoughts, once tangled, are being made new. Loneliness sometimes tells me no one cares for my restless mind. But tonight I know better. The gardener walks here. He sees every thorn, every weed, every twisting vine, and he does not turn away. I lie back in the grass of this imagined garden, watching stars between branches. My heart slows, like soil settling after rain. Peace spreads, not forced, but planted. God, I pray, be my gardener. Cut away what wounds me, uproot what does not belong. Untangle what strangles me. Plant in me seeds of calm, of trust, of rest. Let me sleep in the garden of your care. Here is the blessing for this night. May my thoughts be tended like soil. May the thorns of regret be clipped, the weeds of worry removed, the vines of fear untangled. May new seeds of peace take root. May I rest, knowing my mind is cared for by hands that never tire. So I close my eyes again, letting the gardener work even as I sleep. I do not need to control the growth. I only need to surrender the ground. The room is quiet, but my head roars. Thoughts swell and crash like waves in a storm, one after another, never pausing long enough for me to catch my breath. Each one insists it is urgent. Each one rises higher, demanding attention. I close my eyes, pull the blanket close, and whisper, God, my mind is an ocean. I cannot calm. Be my shore. I imagine myself standing barefoot on sand. Before me stretches the vast sea, restless and wild. Each racing thought takes shape as a wave. The worry about tomorrow's tasks, one wave. The regret over a harsh word spoken, another wave. The fear of what the future may bring, another. They rise tall, white-capped, rushing forward. But then I notice something. Every wave, no matter how fierce, breaks when it meets the shore. It crashes, it foams, it roars. But then it dissolves into ripples, sliding back into the water that birthed it. Not one wave lasts forever. Not one thought can outlive your time. I watch the first wave crash, the worry about tomorrow. Foam curls around my ankles, cool and fleeting, then draws back, leaving smooth sand, gone. I breathe. Another wave follows, louder, the regret about yesterday. It too collapses into foam, washing over me. then retreating, gone. Another wave, fear of the unknown, surges with all its weight, but even it cannot stand. It breaks, shatters, dissolves. The rhythm steadies me. Waves rise, waves fall, thoughts come, thoughts go. My part is not to stop them, but to stand at the edge and let them pass, knowing the shore holds firm. Thank you, I whisper, that I do not have to fear the endlessness of my mind's tide. You are my boundary, you are my peace. The roar begins to soften as I listen. Beneath the crash is a quieter sound, the hush that follows when water slides back into itself. It is gentle, steady, almost like a lullaby. My breath begins to follow it. Inhale with the swell, exhale with the retreat. Slowly, the chaos in my chest learns the rhythm of the sea. Loneliness tells me I am drowning in thoughts no one else can hear. But the ocean answers differently. Its vastness reminds me I am not the only one who carries racing waves. Countless souls stand on countless shores, watching their own tides, and over every one of them you stand steady, holding the line, whispering, "Peace, be still." I sit in the sand of this imagined place, letting waves crash and fade, crash and fade. They no longer terrify me. They are simply movement. They are temporary. They belong to an ocean that is yours, not mine. I can rest because the shore holds. God, I pray, let every racing thought break against you. Do not let them drag me into the depths. Teach me to watch them come and go without fear. Teach me that none of them are stronger than your peace. Here is the blessing for this night. May my thoughts rise and fall like waves, but never overwhelm. May the shore of God's presence hold steady beneath me. May the roar give way to hush. May rest come like a tide, gentle and sure. So I lie back against the pillow, still hearing the rhythm of surf inside me. Thoughts may come again, but I know where they go. They break, they fade, they return to the deep. Night has fallen, yet my thoughts drift restlessly, gathering like storm clouds. One after another they form, thickening, pressing, low, memories I cannot change, tasks left undone, fears that wait for me tomorrow. The more I look, the heavier the sky becomes. God, I whisper, my mind feels crowded. Let your wind clear it. I imagine myself lying in an open field, eyes turned upward. Above me, the sky is vast, but at first I see only gray. Clouds hurry past, layered, restless, shifting shapes too quickly for me to name them. They're my racing thoughts, blocking stars, blocking calm. Then a breeze stirs, soft at first, almost imperceptible, then steady. The wind begins to move the clouds. Slowly they thin, stretch, drift apart. Some race quickly to the horizon, others linger, but even they cannot resist forever. The wind carries them, and the sky begins to open. Each cloud is a thought, the worry about what I said today, the fear of being misunderstood, the endless planning for tomorrow. I watch them pass overhead, and instead of clinging to them, I name them and let them go. There goes regret, I say. There goes fear. There goes control. The wind takes them further, dissolving them into distance. For every cloud that leaves, more sky appears, blue, deep, steady. Stars peek through, one by one like promises unveiled. My chest loosens as I realize the sky was always there. The sky was always there. My thoughts only covered it. Peace is not created. It is revealed when the clutter is moved aside. I breathe with the wind. Inhale, clouds move in. Exhale, clouds drift out. Slowly I join creation's rhythm, the eternal exchange between breath and air. My racing thoughts begin to scatter like clouds in sunlight. Loneliness tells me the sky is empty. that I lie beneath it unseen. But the stars tell another story. Their light has traveled years to reach me. That kind of persistence cannot be loneliness. It is proof that even across distance, presence endures. I turn onto my side in bed, holding the image of clear sky in my mind. I picture my thoughts as clouds, still forming, but none of them permanent. Each one passes. Each one dissolves. What remains is vast, calm, infinite. God, I pray, be my wind. Carry away every restless cloud. Teach me not to hold them too tightly. Let me rest beneath the sky of your peace, wide and clear. Here is the blessing for this night. May my thoughts be clouds, not chains. May the wind of God's Spirit move them gently away. May the stars remind me of light that persists through distance. May my heart find rest beneath the open sky. So I close my eyes, no longer trapped beneath storm, but lying under stillness. Thoughts may come, but they will also go. The wind is faithful, and the sky remains. The night is deep, but my mind still flips through pages too quickly. Thoughts scatter like open books across a table, unfinished chapters, half-written notes, stories I cannot stop rereading. Some are heavy volumes of regret, others are flimsy pamphlets of worry, but all of them clamor to be read at once. God, I whisper, my head is too full. Organize this library I cannot manage. I imagine a great hall, shelves stretching upward beyond sight. The floor is quiet, dust motes floating in lamplight. I stand in the center, arms full of books that spill from my grasp. My restless thoughts, some fall open, their words shouting, others slip closed, but refuse to stay where I place them. Then I see a librarian walking slowly between the shelves. His hands are calm, his eyes kind. He does not scold me for the mess. He simply holds out his arms. One by one, I pass the books to him. The first is thick, Worry About Tomorrow's Responsibilities. Its cover is frayed, its pages worn from being opened too often. He takes it gently and slides it into its place. Not tonight, he seems to say. This book can rest here. The next is thinner, Regret over what I said earlier today. Its words repeat endlessly, as though the same sentence were printed across every page. He receives it without impatience and tucks it onto a shelf where it cannot clamor in my ears. Another book is heavier than the rest, Fear of the Future, of what I cannot control. I struggle to lift it, but his hands are steady. Together we place it high, beyond my reach. It is safe there, guarded. Soon my arms are empty. The pile that once seemed impossible to carry is gone. The shelves are orderly, the room still. My chest loosens, as if space has been made, not only in the library, but in me. I sit in a chair nearby, watching as the librarian dusts a final shelf. He turns, and though he does not speak, I understand. Rest now. The stories will wait. You do not need to read them all tonight. I close my eyes in the library's hush. The silence is not empty. It is full of presence. The ticking clock is softer here, the air lighter. My thoughts, once racing, are now bound and stored, safe until the right time. Loneliness tells me no one helps me order the chaos of my mind. But this image reminds me, you walk the aisles, you carry the weight, you shelve what I cannot. I am not alone in this library. God, I pray, be my librarian. Take these racing thoughts and give them order. Place them where they belong. Guard them until the morning. Let me rest in the quiet you create. Here is the blessing for this night. May every restless thought find its shelf. May every story wait its time. May the silence between books remind me of peace. May the library of God's presence hold me until dawn. So I return to my bed, imagining the shelves standing tall, each thought set aside, none lost, but none demanding. My mind is no longer a table scattered with pages. It is a hall at rest. Some nights it begins as a hum behind the eyes, a restless drone that gathers other sounds to itself until the mind becomes a crowded rehearsal room. Ideas tuned too loudly, memories thrum out of key. Worries tap the snare in a frantic roll that never lands. I lie still and feel the tempo climbing. Composer of my hours, I whisper, would you take the baton? Instead of fighting the noise, I listen for a single instrument that's already steady, my pulse. That quiet metronome is not panicked. It keeps time the way stars keep their courses. I place a hand on my chest and match it in on 4, out on 6. With every long exhale, I imagine writing a rest over the measure, one curved symbol of silence placed right where the mind wants to shout. Not all thoughts are wrong. Many are simply untuned. So I picture a small orchestra gathering in me. Pride has tuned itself sharp. Regret has sagged flat. Anxiety refuses to watch the conductor. One by one, you walk the line like a patient maestro. Listen, listen. Pride loosens the pegs a quarter turn. Regret finds the center of the pitch. Anxiety, seeing your raised hand, finally lowers the sticks. Now the score appears, a page of staves where today's notes are scattered. Some are scribbled in the margins, some piled in clusters, like a storm of blackbirds. You do not tear the page. You start arranging. That email I cannot stop rehearsing becomes a soft eighth note tucked beneath the melody. Not a trumpet blast. The bill due next week, an honest quarter note placed in tomorrow's measure, where it belongs. The ache I cannot name. You mark it dolce to be played gently, not with force. The music is still mine, but the order is yours. I watch as you draw bar lines that protect the present from the future. This measure for now, that measure for morning. Where there are too many notes, you write a fermata over the breath I am taking. Hold here longer than feels natural until peace catches up. My body joins the ensemble. Shoulders lower like cellos, finding their endpin. Jaw unclenches as if loosening the reed. Tongue settles against the roof of the mouth, and the woodwinds in my chest stop overblowing. The bed is a concert chair that knows my shape. The pillow is rosin for the bow, helping truth catch the string instead of skating across it. Racing thoughts love a fast tempo. They demand presto when the soul needs adagio, so I speak the tempo out loud, the small liturgy under my breath. Adagio, adagio. I count a slow 4, as if guiding a choir. 1 for you are here, 2 for I am held, 3 for nothing, urgent in this measure, 4 for rest. Counting is not childish, it is craft. Dissonance has its place. No honest song lives without it. What exhausts me is unresolved dissonance. Intervals left hanging in air. I name the tensions, the conversation I fear, the answer I lack, the door I hope will open. Then I picture your hand sketching the resolution, not always to major sunshine, sometimes to a minor that feels true. The relief is physical. Unfinished chords do not accuse me. They await the next bar. Right in the rests, I ask. Real rests, the kind that tell every section to lay down their lines at once. You pencil them across my thoughts like little hammocks. When guilt tries to leap the silence, you tap the stand with the baton. Rests are notes too. The room around me contributes its gentle accompaniment, heater hush. A tick on the wall like a distant ride, cymbal, wind outside, making the long note of a contrabassoon through the window frame. Nothing strains for attention. The world keeps a soft drone so the melody can relax. I offer you the motifs that keep repeating. That old argument, always in the key of sharpness. that anxious loop, always ascending without resolve. You modulate them. Suddenly, the argument turns to a lament that makes room for mercy. The anxious loop extends into a cadence that lands on enough. When panic tries a drum fill fast, showy, going nowhere, I choose a counter melody, gratitude in whole notes. I lay them long across the staff, a roof that kept me, a cup that warmed me, a name I can still whisper when I'm afraid. Whole notes have weight, they slow the blood. I let them. There are measures I cannot play. For those you write tacit, be silent this section. I will carry the theme. Obedience is quieter than I assumed. It often sounds like staying in my seat and letting the conductor be the conductor. I think of tomorrow's page. The temptation is to flip ahead, to sight-read fear. Instead, I watch your pencil draw a neat double bar at the edge of this day. It doesn't say the symphony is over. It says this movement has ended. Between movements, orchestras, breathe. So do I. And beneath everything, a cello begins a hymn, one long line that refuses to hurry. You are not alone. You are not late. You are not forgotten. The line is simple enough for me to hum, quiet enough that no neighbor would hear, steady enough that my chest can copy it. I hum until the voice in my head that shouts begins to sing along instead. Memory wants to drag in a marching band of what-ifs. I open the side door and let them pass down the street without stopping. Not every parade is mine to join. Behind them, the air is suddenly spacious. I can hear the soft instruments again. Give me a coda, I ask, a gentle ending that circles a familiar phrase before release. You oblige. The theme returns. Softer, slower, safer. Peace, be still. There is nothing clever to add, only the sweetness of recognition. For a moment, I picture your hands, scarred and skilled, over mine at the keyboard. Where my fingers fumble for the same anxious chord, you guide them to a different voicing. The harmony blooms. I feel the bed tilt towards sleep like a grand closing its lid. Bless those who cannot quiet their minds tonight. The nurse on a fluorescent ward, the parent counting fevers, the student hearing the same exam march on loop. Let your timekeeping find them. Let a rest appear in the bar they're trapped in. Conduct us together, though scattered, into the same hush. A final instruction settles over me like a velvet curtain. PPP, as soft as possible. Not silence yet, but close. My prayer matches the dynamic. No speeches, no encores, only this. Conductor of my breath, keep the tempo while I sleep. Blessing for the sleepless musician within. Over every bar of worry, right rest. Over every cluster of tasks, assign their measure. Over sharp regrets and flat fears, tune them to truth. Over the urge to rush, mark adagia. Over unresolved chords, teach patient resolution. Over the empty staff ahead, draw the double bar and promise a new movement when morning stands. The room dims to the color of a viola's low string. I turn on my side and let the mattress remember my shape. Somewhere, the pulse keeps time, faithful as ever. Somewhere, the maestro lifts a hand I cannot see and whispers the downbeat of quiet. That is enough. The mind that was an unruly rehearsal surrenders to the performance of rest. Sometimes my thoughts feel like travelers who refuse to rest. They walk circles in the night, pacing dusty roads in my mind. Each one carries a pack of questions, and each insists its journey cannot wait until morning. God, I whisper, my thoughts are wandering too far. Lead them home. I picture a long road beneath a fading sunset. The sky glows violet, the horizon wide. My thoughts appear like small figures on the path, restless and burdened. One carries regret like a heavy satchel. Another drags worry like a cart with a broken wheel. Still another clutches fear as if it were a map. Then I see you walking ahead of them, lantern in hand. The light spills across the road, steady and sure. You pause, waiting. Slowly, the travelers notice. One by one, they move toward you. Their burdens, so urgent before, begin to loosen. You touch the strap of regret's satchel, and it falls away. You lift the cart of worry, and it dissolves like mist. The map of fear fades in your hand, replaced by trust. The road grows smoother under your steps. Stones that once cut my feet are shifted aside. Each thought that tried to run ahead now slows, keeping pace with your lantern's light. They are no longer racing. They are walking. They are no longer scattered. They are following. I walk too, barefoot but unafraid. The dust beneath me is soft, the air cool. For every anxious thought, you remind me, one step at a time. For every regret that lingers, you whisper, that road is behind you now. For every fear of tomorrow, you promise, the lantern will be enough for each step. At times the path curves into shadow. My heart quickens, ready to sprint with my racing thoughts. But you lift the lantern higher, and I see enough to keep going. Not the whole journey, just the next stone, the next turn. It is enough. Loneliness tries to tell me I walk alone, but the crunch of steps beside me proves otherwise. The thoughts that once tormented me now walk as companions, quiet, obedient to your pace. What was chaos becomes pilgrimage. What was racing becomes rhythm. We come to a resting place, a clearing by the road. You spread a cloth, set down bread, pour water, clear and cool. My thoughts, tired from running, sit and eat. They do not argue. They are grateful. I too receive, my body relaxing as I taste simple provision. Rest here, you say, without words. Rest before the next day begins. The lantern glows brighter as stars emerge above. My mind, once scattered like 1,000 feet on gravel, now lies still like the sky. Thoughts remain, but they are settled. They have a guide. They have a home. Good God, I pray, be my way tonight. Gather my wandering thoughts, steady their steps, ease their burdens, lead them not into racing, but into rest. Let me sleep as one who is walking safely in your light. Here is the blessing for this night. May every thought find its place on the road. May regret be left behind. Worry set down, fear transformed. May the lantern of God's care light each step. May rest come as the journey pauses. So I close my eyes, trusting that the road continues even as I sleep. I do not need to walk every mile tonight. The one with the lantern goes before me, and the travelers of my thoughts follow him into peace. The night is quiet, yet inside me there is restlessness. Thoughts wander the room like children refusing bedtime, asking questions, tugging at sleeves, running in circles. Some are cranky with regret, some overexcited with plans, some frightened of shadows no one else sees. They feel like a weary parent with too many little ones to soothe. God, I sigh, these thoughts are loud and restless. Tuck them in for me. I imagine a wide room filled with soft light. Beds are lined along the walls, each small and waiting. My racing thoughts arrive one by one, still full of energy, unwilling to settle. But you kneel to greet them, not stern, not harsh. With patience, you guide each one to its bed. The first thought, worry about tomorrow, clutches a blanket too tightly. You gently loosen its grip, wrap it warmly, and whisper, you don't need to stay awake. Morning will come, and I will be there. The worry exhales, small shoulders unclenching, and drifts beneath the covers. Next comes regret, crying noisily about what cannot be changed. You gather it close, wipe its tears, and say softly, yesterday has already gone to sleep. You may rest too. The crying quiets, the little body relaxes, and you tuck regret under a quilt of mercy. Fear appears, wide-eyed, pointing at shadows. You take its trembling hand and lead it to a bed near the lantern. See, light is near. Nothing hidden will harm you tonight. Fear curls beneath the glow, at last willing to close its eyes. Then there are smaller thoughts, unfinished lists, minor irritations, stray fragments. They are like children too distracted to lie still. You smooth their hair, hum a gentle song, and one by one their fidgeting slows. Soon, even they are tucked in, breathing deep, dreaming harmless dreams. At last the room is quiet. All the racing thoughts that stormed my mind now lie beneath blankets of care. You pull the final quilt across my chest as well. Rest now, you whisper. If even your thoughts can sleep, so can you. I feel the weight of that covering, soft, steady, protective. It is more than fabric, it is presence. Beneath it, my heart slows. My breath deepens. The storm of voices fades into gentle hush. Loneliness tells me there is no one to comfort me. But this picture tells the truth. You are the parent who does not tire, who never runs out of patience, who stays until every restless one is safe beneath the covers. God, I pray, cover my racing thoughts. Tuck them in one by one. Let each be calmed by your voice. Let me too rest beneath the quilt of your mercy. Hold me like a child who trusts the night. Here is the blessing for this night. May every thought find a bed. May worry be soothed, regret comforted, fear reassured. May the restless ones grow quiet under God's care. And may I rest, covered by love, stronger than darkness. So I lie down again, imagining the room full of sleeping thoughts, each one breathing softly, no longer demanding. Above them all, you keep watch, tender and tireless. The day has ended, but inside me, the storm still rages. My thoughts are like travelers caught on a mountainside, wind whipping, rain pouring, each step frantic. They stumble across sharp stones, desperate for safety. I feel them pushing against my chest, each one shouting, "What if? What next? What now?" God, I plead in the darkness, give my thoughts a shelter. I imagine myself high among peaks. Clouds tear across the sky. Lightning splits the horizon, and thunder rolls like a drum, too close to bear. My thoughts scatter on the path, one clutching tomorrow's responsibilities, another burdened with yesterday's regrets, another trembling at shadows. The storm will not let them rest. Then, in the cliffside, a cave appears. Its entrance glows faintly, not with fire, but with presence. You stand there, lantern lifted, calling, "Come in." One by one, the thoughts rush forward. The first, heavy with worry, staggers inside and collapses. The second, shaking with guilt, is guided by your hand to a safe corner. The third, restless and wild, finally slows, soothed by the quiet within. I follow them, stepping into the cave. The storm outside rages, but within these walls there is calm. Stone arches overhead like the hand of God curved in protection. The air is cool, steady, safe. My racing thoughts, which moments ago ran frantically, now sit like weary travelers, finally home. You kindle a small fire in the center. Its glow warms the chamber. Its smoke rises gently into the unseen heights. Round the fire, my thoughts gather. They do not argue now. They simply rest. One leans against another. One lays down its burden. One drifts into sleep, lulled by the crackle of flame. I sit too, wrapping my arms around my knees, watching the firelight dance across the walls. The storm outside still roars, but it cannot reach me here. What was chaos becomes refuge. What was terror becomes silence. Loneliness tells me I am exposed, alone on the mountainside. But this vision tells me otherwise. There is a cave carved by mercy, a lantern lit by love, a fire tended by your hand. I am not alone, and neither are my thoughts. God, I pray, be my refuge tonight. Gather my thoughts into your shelter. Let them rest where the storm cannot touch. Let the fire of your presence warm them until they fall quiet. Teach me to trust the cave of your care. Here is the blessing for this night. May every racing thought find its refuge. May worry, regret, and fear be sheltered from the storm. May the mountain cave remind me that God is my hiding place. May rest come like firelight, steady and sure. So I lie down again, imagining the storm fading beyond stone walls. My thoughts curl near the fire, weary travelers no longer wandering. I close my eyes in the safety of the cave and whisper softly, God, calm my racing thoughts before bed. Fields have a way of quieting after work is done. The air changes, the ground exhales, and even the birds seem to speak more softly. My mind does not yet know this evening. Hush. Thoughts still rustle like stalks in a sudden wind, tall, dry, insistent. They lean one way, then another, brushing against each other, until the noise fills the whole field of my head. God, I murmur into the pillow, teach me how to gather what is scattered. Instead of forcing silence, I imagine twilight over an open plain. The sun slides low. Its light turns everything to amber. Across the furrows stand my thoughts like uncut grain. Some are heavy with the day's concerns, bending at the neck. Others are thin and anxious, waving too much for their own strength. I walk the boundary with you at my side. You carry a cord for binding in a calm I cannot manufacture. The harvest is not panic, it is patience. We step into the rows. I reach for the first bundle, today's conversation that didn't land right. The sentence I keep replaying. You steady my hand. Only what grew today. Your quiet seems to say, leave the rest for another season. Together we gather those few stalks, align them, and wrap them with cord. The sound of grain coming together, soft, bristled, sure, becomes a lullaby. What sprawled becomes held. A little farther along waits a larger patch. Tomorrow's to-do list, swollen with items that multiply after dark. My instinct is to grab everything at once. You kneel and show me a slow motion, 8, 10 stalks at a time, bind by handfuls. You teach, enough for the palm, not more. As the sheaf fattens, I notice my breath has matched the work. Inhale to gather, exhale to tie. The rhythm is kinder than worries sprint. Regret grows in tangled clumps. The stems are tough, their heads brittle. I whisper the litany I've learned. Name, gather, surrender. Name the mistake plainly. Gather only what belongs to the day. No scavenging from old fields. Surrender what cannot be replanted tonight. When we cinch the twine around that stubborn bundle, the relief is physical. I'm not tossing regret away. I'm storing it where harm cannot spread. Some thoughts are gleanings, thin, leftover pieces I keep stepping on. A glance I misread, a headline that lodged like a burr, a passing envy. They do not deserve a full sheaf, yet they jab. You hand me a small cord, nothing fancy. Make a little bundle. You suggest the small things deserve a place, too, just not the whole barn. I smile at the mercy in that sentence. Soon the field changes shape, no longer bristling everywhere. It's dotted with order, upright sheaves leaning into one another like friends. Wind no longer whips the stalks into a hiss. It moves through the bound bundles and keeps going. My chest copies the landscape. Air travels through me without catching on 1,000 separate stems. I follow you to the edge where a wagon waits. It is not urgent. Its wheels do not shout. We lift the sheaves, work, regret, small gleanings, tomorrow's portion, and set them inside. Each thump against the bed of the wagon is a note lower than the last. Gravity partners with grace. The field grows simpler with every trip. There is always one patch that insists it's different. The worry that says, if you bind me, you will forget me. If you lay me down, I'll be lost. I pause and listen. You do not argue. You label. From your pocket, you pull a little tag and write one word, kept, tied around the sheaf's waist. The tag silences the lie. What is kept is not forgotten. It's saved from trampling. As twilight cools to blue, we wheel the wagon toward a small granary. Its door is not a vault, it's a kindness. Inside, the air smells like straw and quiet. Sheaves stand along the walls like upright prayers. We add mind to the company. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is spread across the floor where feet can scatter it again. The day's growth will rest and cure here. My mind will not. Before we leave, you lift one bundle back into my arms. A light sheaf labeled gratitude. I forgot we'd gathered it, a text I received. The taste of tea when I thought nothing would help, the laugh that surprised me, the small task finished. Hold this to fall asleep, you suggest. Let the weight be the right kind. I do, and the pressure over my ribs is tenderness, not burden. We return to the field's edge and sit on the low stone wall. Stubble shines like short gold hair. The sky edits itself from indigo to ink. Crickets sign the day to its rest. I notice how quiet my hands are. They aren't clawing at stems. They aren't counting unreal bushels. They're empty in the best way, ready for the blanket, ready for sleep. Loneliness usually walks me here and says that no one else will help with the work inside my head. Tonight that voice can't be heard above a truer memory. We gathered together. I didn't bind the field on my own. The God who knows the weight of wheat knows the weight of worry, and both can be lifted, tied, stored. Back in the room, I borrow the field's motions. The sheet pulls up like a clean length of cloth. I gather the edges of the day into the hollow of my chest, only a handful at a time, and then bind them with a breath. Inhale to collect, exhale to tie. A second breath to carry the bundle across the small distance between mind and heart. Set it down, begin again. The harvest continues, but it no longer feels like a fight. A few stalks always remain, thoughts too green to cut, questions not ready for storage, hopes that still need sun. I leave them standing. Not everything must be solved before sleep. The mercy of harvest is knowing what is for now and what is for later. Keeper of barns and hearts, I pray, gather what I cannot, bind what I fumble, store what should not roam the night. Guard the granary of my mind, let no wind scatter what we placed in your care, and for the parts not yet ripe, set a watch over the field until morning. There is a small sacrament I practice with my hands under the blanket. I curl all 5 fingers in, then open them wide, twice. It teaches my body what my spirit is learning. Clutch, then release, hold, then hand over. On the 3rd opening I leave the fingers spread, and still, that is my amen. Blessing for the harvest-tired mind. Over scattered stems, gathering, over tangled regret, straight chords, and patient hands. Over lists that swarm at dusk, handfuls, not armfuls. Over small burrs, little bundles with names. Over the lie of forgetting tags that read kept. Over the granary door, peace like cool straw. Over the sheaf of gratitude, weight that comforts, not crushes. Over the field that remains due in a quiet guard until dawn. The pillow receives me the way a barn receives the last load. I let the mattress be the wagon's bed. I let the room be a stubble field under stars. What had been everywhere is now somewhere. What would not stop running now stands. The darkness has settled, but inside me the ticking is loud. Thoughts race like clock hands spinning far too quickly, as if the hours were being torn apart and scattered into fragments. I feel them whirring fast, sharp, relentless. What if I'm late? What if I've wasted too much time? What if tomorrow comes before I'm ready? The seconds in my head run like thieves. God, I whisper, teach time in me to slow. I picture a great clock tower rising in the night, its face is vast, glowing softly in moonlight. At first the hands jerk wildly, circling in frenzy, out of rhythm. Numbers blur, the chime trembles as if struck without pause. This is my mind when sleep refuses to come. Then you step into the tower, gentle but firm. You place a hand on the swinging pendulum. It thrashes like my restless thoughts, but slowly, under your touch, it steadies. Forward, back, forward, back. The wild tempo becomes a calm beat. Each swing matches my breath. Inhale, exhale. My chest learns again that time is not enemy. It is gift. The hour hand, once spinning, slows under your care. Minutes resume their patient crawl. Seconds no longer scatter like sparks. They line up, obedient, waiting their turn. Order returns where chaos lived. The tower hums with balance. I look again at the face of the clock. The numbers shine clearly now. 12 marks the place of midnight, but instead of dread, it feels like invitation. Midnight is not failure. It is simply another hour held in your keeping. 1, 2, 3. Each number is a promise. You are present in every moment, no matter how late. I imagine my racing thoughts as smaller clocks, each ticking too loudly in different corners of my mind. One shouts the alarm of unfinished work. Another insists tomorrow's schedule must be rehearsed. A third clangs regret over wasted years. You move among them, winding some down, silencing others, resetting hands to the right time. What deafened me becomes symphony, each clock in harmony with your rhythm. Outside, the night itself keeps slower time. Stars take centuries to cross the sky. The moon moves with patience. Even the earth turns quietly without rush. My body, small as it is, belongs to that grand rhythm. Why should my thoughts insist on running faster than creation? I lay a hand over my pulse and feel it ticking, slower now, more even. This is my inner clock, set not by panic but by grace. Every beat says, still here, still kept. Racing serves nothing. Rest preserves everything. Loneliness tempts me to think no one shares these restless hours. But the tower teaches otherwise. Many stand beneath its chimes, all listening for the same rhythm of peace. And you, the keeper of time, mark every heart, never missing a beat. God, I pray, reset my racing thoughts. Place your hand upon the pendulum of my mind. Slow me to match the calm of your keeping. Let me rest in the knowledge that every hour is yours, and therefore safe. Here is the blessing for this night. May the seconds no longer scatter, but settle. May the minutes walk gently, one after another. May the hours become friends, not threats. May time itself become a lullaby under God's care. So I close my eyes, listening not to the frantic ticking, but to the steady hush of presence. Midnight is simply another doorway into peace. A workshop lives inside my head tonight. Lamps burn over a scarred bench. The air smells faintly of resin and warm pine. Tools hang in their places like patient listeners. Yet nothing feels patient. Thoughts rattle like a box of loose screws, skitter like shavings on the floor, scrape like a dull blade catching grain the wrong way. Master Carpenter, I whisper into the dark. My mind is full of offcuts and splinters. Take it into your hand. Instead of shushing the noise, I picture a broad, steady palm setting a board on the bench. The board is one relentless thought, the urgent one, the one that keeps pacing the hall of my skull. You sight along its edge, not with contempt but with care. It's warped, my fear says. It's useless. You reach for a plane, lift it like a promise, and set its mouth shallow. Long, even strokes whisper down the length. Curl by curl the high places come down. Sweet, thin ribbons coil at your feet. The board settles. My breath settles with it. Another piece waits near the vise, knotty, heavy, loud in its protest. This is regret. You chalk a line. The square kisses the edge. A true mark appears where memory has been crooked. Cut here, love says. The saw answers in a low, patient rhythm. It doesn't rush or tear. It simply keeps time. When the last tooth clears, the waste falls away with a soft thud. What remains is smaller and truer. Screws and nails clatter in my thoughts. Arguments I've rehearsed, answers I can't stop tightening. You don't pound, you choose pegs instead. Mortise and tenon carved to belong together. Not everything needs force. You're quiet teachers. Some things need fit. Chisel and mallet speak in gentle taps. The joint slides home with that satisfying hush of wood meeting itself. Anxiety loses another perch. A handplane sings again, this time across tomorrow's list. The long board that claims the whole bench. I have tried to work it end to end at once. You turn it lengthwise and say, grain by grain. Shavings curl like pale feathers. The board grows flat enough for sleep to lie upon. Across the bench is a smaller piece, splintery, stubborn. It's the what if that catches me every time I reach for rest. You take it last. Steam rises from a kettle set at the corner of my mind, a wrapping of cloth, a slow bend over a form, heat and time where willpower never could. The what if learns a gentler curve, one that can live inside a frame instead of poking through it. Clamps appear, bright-jawed and kind. Faith is one, trust another, patience a third. You fit them over the places where truth and thought meet and turn the handles just enough. Let it set, you say. Glue, mercy, needs a night. I want to handle and test and prove. You hand me a rag and point to the squeeze out. Wipe the excess worry. Leave the rest alone. Sanding takes longer than I hoped. Grit 120, naming the roughness honestly. Grit 220, prayer that circles the same place until it warms. Grit 320, gratitude passing lightly, aligning the grain so light can run without snagging. Dust coats my fears and makes them visible. A brush carries them away. The surface of my mind feels different beneath your touch. Quiet, like a river table, finely glassed. Blueprints were never my talent, only my panic. You unroll one anyway, not a labyrinth of lines, but a single, simple drawing, a frame shaped to hold rest, rails named peace, stiles named presence, slats named enough. Across the corner a small penciled note in tidy script. Cut no piece larger than grace. I exhale like a board losing its last tension. The square rests on the bench. You lift it against a thought I'd been nursing, a thought tilted by shame. There is no lecture, only the truth of right angles. Plumb, you say, when my heart touches your measuring. True. The word lands like oil on a squeak I didn't realize I was living with. Noise tries to restart the little frantic rasp of measuring over and over. Did I? Will I? What if? You put the tape away. Measure once more. You smile, but measure by my piece. 10 fingers press my ribs. Inhale, exhale. The span fits this hour and no more. Enough. The sweep begins. Lie broom across the shop floor of my mind. Sawdust of small offenses, curls of ancient stories, the glitter of sanded pride. All of it gathers into a soft hill. You do not shove it toward me. You open a door to the night and nudge it into the dark like chaff, like yesterday's weather. Air tastes cleaner when the floor is clear. Bodies rest better when feet stop crunching on what the day left. A vise releases with that sweet little sigh of steel letting go. Shoulders take the hint and drop. Jaw unhooks. Hands forget the screwdriver posture and turn to open palms. My body understands your language even when my head drags its feet. There's a final task: assembly. Pieces come from every corner-shaped worry, true intention, gentle memory, bent what if. You fit them without strain. Where I expect you to reach for brads, you reach for dovetails. Beauty tightens what function began. This is not just a box to hold your night, you say, without saying. It's a cradle. I almost laugh at the audacity. Then I see what you've made: a small, sturdy holding for a human life to rest in until morning. Stain would be too much. You leave the grain visible. Sleep's first light will travel this way and that along it, like a fingertip reading a beloved page. A wipe of oil, prayer, sinking into honest pores, not sealing them against feeling. A cloth follows in lazy circles. Luster gathers the way, a blessing gathers, thin at first, then surely there. Over in a corner of the workshop I notice a little pile. Chips from the knots. You eased out the short ends from cuts that made things true. The shavings that once were panic. For the first time, I don't see trash. I see kindling. Keep a little, you nod toward my lamp. Some nights you'll need a small, honest fire. It's fine to light it. The soundtrack of the shop changes. Where there was rasp and whir, there is now only the quiet click of a clock you made, keeping unhurried time. My breath syncs with it. This is not a factory. This is a place where care lives. I think of people I'll never meet: nurses in linoleum corridors, guards in glass booths, parents in rocking chairs, students under dim desk lamps, each with their own pile of splinters threatening sleep. Teach our hands the gentleness of yours, I ask for all of us. Make us apprentices to your patience. The bench, clear now, invites only one last act. You pat the new frame and I understand. Lay your head here, if not on wood, then on the truth it represents. I walk back to my actual bed, carrying the workshop inside me. The pillow is suddenly a smooth plank without splinter. The sheet is a shaving soft blanket. The room smells faintly of resin and mercy. Master, I say, as if from a doorway, if I wake at some thin hour and the screws spill again, you look up from a quiet project and smile like someone who's never hurried. Bring me the box. Your eyes answer. We'll sort it together. Here is where the body joins the craft. Shoulder blades find their mortises. Spine settles into a groove truer than the rut of worry. Tongue rests behind the teeth, so no midnight nails can scratch the inside of my mouth. I borrow your mantra for finishing: little pressure, long strokes, let the tool do the work. My breathing copies it perfectly. Blessing from the carpenter's bench. Over splinters, balm and the tweezers of truth. Over warped boards, steam, patience, and the plane's soft hymn. Over knots, kind knives, and no shame. Over joints, fit, not force, dovetail care. Over glue lines, clamps of trust, set overnight. Over dust, an open door and a broom that does not judge. Over measures, peace as the only tape. Over blueprints, simple frames, named enough. Over the cradle of your night presence that does not creak. The lamps dim in the workshop behind my eyes. Tools gleam in their places. The frame you built holds. I lie within its promise, not as lumber, but as someone worth keeping. If a thought skitters, it finds no snag. If a fear presses, it meets a corner sanded by patience. Sleep is not a prize. I win tonight. It is a bed you crafted. Evening has deepened, but my head still swirls. Thoughts jostle against each other like travelers at a crowded dock, each insisting it must board first, each demanding my full attention. The pier groans beneath their weight, my chest groans beneath their noise. God, I whisper, I cannot keep them all, standing here. Give them a vessel. Give me release. I imagine water stretching wide and dark beneath a pale moon. At the dock waits a wooden boat, simple, steady, tied with a rope that sways in rhythm with the current. You stand at its stern, lantern in hand, ready. Your eyes meet mine, saying, without words, bring them here. The first thought steps forward. Tomorrow's deadlines, sharp and urgent. I help it into the boat, though it fights me, insisting it must stay awake. You steady it with a hand on its shoulder. Even workers must rest. Your gaze assures. The thought finally sits. Next comes regret, heavy with years of memory. It shuffles slowly, eyes down. I fear the boat will sink beneath such weight. But you lift the bundle from its arms, place it beneath the seat, and nod. It is carried. Regret breathes easier, and so do I. Fear arrives next, wild-eyed, clutching my sleeve. What if? What if? It cries. You reach out and guide it aboard, not with rebuke, but with firm presence. The lantern's glow falls across fear's face until it quiets, tucking itself small in the corner. Soon the boat fills, minor thoughts too, the half-remembered list, the small irritation, the fleeting envy. All take their seats. None are turned away. The boat was made to hold them. I step back, suddenly empty-armed. The dock, once overcrowded, is clear. My chest, once crushed, expands with breath I had forgotten to take. You untie the rope and push from the shore. The boat drifts into current, carrying my thoughts with it. The river accepts them all. Its surface ripples softly. Its depths are strong, but not violent. I watch as lantern light fades slowly into distance, bobbing gently. My thoughts are no longer racing around me. They are passengers on a vessel guided by hands far wiser than mine. The hush that follows is vast. Crickets sing on the bank, reeds sway with the night breeze. My body copies the rhythm, stillness punctuated by slow movement. Inhale, exhale. The current is enough. For a moment, loneliness whispers. You've let your thoughts go. Now you are empty, abandoned. But the truth rises louder. I am not abandoned. I remain on shore with you beside me still, even as you guide the boat from afar. I am not less because my thoughts are gone. I am freer. I sit down in grass damp with dew. The silence feels like water over stones flowing, continuous, cleansing. My pulse slows until it matches the river's pace. I do not need to follow the boat. It knows its way. God, I pray, thank you for this vessel. Thank you for carrying what I cannot hold. Let the river bear them into your keeping. Let the current of your spirit return to me only what is needed when morning comes. Here is the blessing for this night. May every thought find its place in the boat. May worry take its seat, regret lay down its load, fear curl quiet in the corner. May the river carry them far from my sleepless shore. May I rest, knowing they are guided by steady hands. So I lie again in my bed, the pillow beneath me soft as riverbank moss. My chest no longer thrums with restless crowds. It rises and falls like a quiet tide. Sleep waits like a horizon, sure as the current. The darkness of the room is deep, yet my mind glows too bright. Thoughts flare like candles scattered across a table, some tall, burning strong, others small, flickering wildly, still others dripping wax in messy pools. Each insists on staying lit, keeping my eyes wide, keeping my heart restless. God, I breathe, there are too many flames inside me. Will you blow gently across them? I imagine walking into a quiet chapel. The air smells faintly of wax and silence. Hundreds of candles stand in uneven rows, each flame alive, each representing a thought that refuses to fade. One candle sputters with anxiety about tomorrow. Another burns, sharp with regret from today. Others stand in clusters, fear, self-criticism, endless plans. Their light is not comfort, it is glare. My chest aches in the glow. Then you appear at the far end of the chapel, walking slowly between the rows. Your steps do not rush. Your presence is steady. You pause before the tallest flame, worry over tasks, unfinished, and lean close. One breath, soft but sure, lowers the flame until only a faint ember remains. The wax holds heat, but the blaze is gone. At another row, you find regret, a candle that drips faster than most. Its flame flickers angrily, as if unwilling to die. You breathe gently, not once but twice, and at last the fire yields. Smoke curls upward, thin and silver. What felt consuming becomes memory only, no longer burning. Fear burns like a cluster of small votives, each one darting erratically. You kneel, cupping your hand as windshield, and exhale across them. They extinguish in unison, leaving a soft trail of warmth in the air. My pulse, racing a moment ago, follows the smoke upward and calms. You move from candle to candle, some extinguished at once, others dimmed slowly. The room grows darker, but not frighteningly so. It becomes softer, gentler, filled with the hush of completion. The fewer the flames, the clearer the peace. I watch until only a few small lights remain. These close, you leave, steady and calm, tiny flames of gratitude, a memory of kindness, a hope for tomorrow's dawn. These lights do not race, they glow. They are not restless, they comfort. Loneliness often tells me that if the thoughts go out, nothing will remain, but the chapel proves otherwise. Even in the dimness, there is presence. Even with fewer flames, there is more peace, and the light that remains is enough to guide my steps into rest. I breathe in the faint smoke, sweet and cleansing. My body relaxes as though it too has been exhaled upon. Shoulders fall, heartbeat slows, eyes grow heavy. Racing has no power here. The chapel belongs to stillness. God, I pray, extinguish the flames that torment me. Leave burning only what gives peace. Let your breath carry away the smoke of worry, regret, and fear. Leave behind the gentle glow of hope, trust, and gratitude. Here is the blessing for this night. May every racing thought become a candle gone out. May their smoke rise into God's keeping. May only the small lights of peace remain, and may the soft glow guide me into sleep. So I return to my bed, feeling the air lighter, the room dimmer. My thoughts no longer blaze. They rest like candles after prayer. My eyes close, lids heavy, and in the last faint glow I whisper, God, calm my racing thoughts before bed. Night has come, but inside my head the day refuses to fold. Thoughts bloom too quickly, one after another, like restless petals opening without pause. They reach upward for air, for space, for notice. Some open sharp, some droop heavy, some spill fragrance too strong to ignore. God, I sigh, my mind is a garden without rhythm. Teach these thoughts to rest as flowers do. I picture myself stepping through a quiet gate. Beyond it stretches a garden alive in moonlight. The paths are pale with dew, the beds bordered by stone, and everywhere blossoms stir, not roses of noon, not lilies of morning, but the peculiar flowers that only open at night. They glow faintly, faces turn to stars. My thoughts are among them. Here is one, anxious planning for tomorrow. its petals wide, pale trembling. The air around it is sharp with strain. You kneel beside it, brush a finger over the bloom, and it sighs. Slowly its petals fold inward, gathering to center. The fragrance softens into calm. Next I see regret, drooping heavy, releasing a scent too thick, almost bitter. You cup the bloom with your hands, lift it gently, and whisper a mercy I cannot hear. The flower listens. Its burden eases, it closes, not in shame, but in relief, curling into rest. Farther along stands fear, a tall stalk crowned with too many blossoms at once. They crowd, they shout, their scent overwhelming. You touch the stem near its base. The plant steady. One by one the blooms fold, each exhale lighter, until only a single calm flower remains, glowing, steady in the dark. Smaller thoughts line the path like tiny night-blooming jasmine. Lists, irritations, fragments of conversations. Their scent is bright, too sharp for peace. Yet you move your hand above them, and the breeze carries their perfume upward, dispersing what once crowded. Soon they too close, leaving only a trace, sweet enough to comfort. The garden changes as you walk. Once filled with restless blossoms, it now grows quiet. Buds curl in, petals fold, fragrance fades to whispers. What remains is not absence, but order. A few blooms stay open, gratitude, hope, wonder. Their glow is soft, steady, guiding. They do not race. They simply are. I sit on a stone bench, watching night deepen. The stars above lean closer, reflected in the closed flowers like tiny mirrors. My racing thoughts, now folded, rest beneath their coverings. They are not gone, but they are safe, entrusted to the rhythm of night. Loneliness tries to tell me no one sees the bloom and fold of my restless mind, but the garden proves otherwise. You walk here, you tend, you know each thought by name. Not one opens or closes without your care. God, I pray, let my thoughts be night flowers in your garden. Let them open for a moment, release what they must, then fold again in your presence. Let peace be their final fragrance. Let rest be their rhythm. Here is the blessing for this night. May each thought bloom only briefly, offering itself to God. May every regret fold into mercy, every fear into trust, every worry into calm. May a few lights remain, gratitude, hope, love, glowing gently under the stars. So I lie down, imagining the garden around me, blossoms tucked into themselves, petals closed, safe under moonlight. My chest eases, my breath deepens. The night, like the flowers, teaches stillness. Time feels heavy tonight. My thoughts tumble like grains of sand shaken from a broken jar, scattering in every direction, refusing order. They pile in drifts, spill into corners, trickle restlessly across the floor of my mind. Too much, too fast, too many. I cannot hold them all. God, I whisper into the dark, place my thoughts inside your hourglass. Let them fall in rhythm, not chaos. I see before me a vast Pisachna Gabada, tall and slender, glowing with a faint golden light. Its glass curves smooth, and within it the sand glimmers like starlight. At first the grains tumble wildly, as though caught in storm, rattling against the glass, fighting the narrow passage. These are my racing thoughts, too eager, too loud, all wanting to fall at once. You stand beside the hourglass, hands steady on either end. With a single touch, you still the storm. The sand resumes its rhythm, grain by grain, steady and patient. Not one leaps ahead, not one lingers behind. Each falls in its time. I lean closer and recognize the grains. That one shining speck is my worry for tomorrow's meeting. Another is the regret of today's sharp word. Another glitters with fear of the unknown. Countless smaller ones sparkle, unfinished lists, fleeting irritations, vague unease. They all pass through the same narrow place, one at a time, not rushing, not lost. The more I watch, the calmer I feel. My chest, once tight, now copies the rhythm. Inhale, exhale. Breath becomes sand, moving slowly, steadily. The chaos lessens. Time becomes friend again. When regret tries to leap, you cup the glass gently, slowing its fall. When fear clogs the passage, you tap softly, guiding it through. When the little irritations scatter, you gather them back with patient hands. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is too small. Half the sand lies above, half below, and the narrow passage is the present moment. You remind me, this grain only, not the whole pile. My thoughts no longer need to race. They will all find their turn. The sound of the falling sand is soft, like rain against the window, like a lullaby written in countless whispers. Each grain sings, enough, enough. Loneliness tells me I am trapped in the glass, watching time slip away. But truth says otherwise. I am not imprisoned, I am held. The keeper of the hourglass turns it when needed. No grain falls without your notice. No moment escapes your care. I close my eyes and imagine placing each restless thought into your hands, watching you pour them gently into the hourglass. There they fall, in rhythm, not my own, but yours. What was overwhelming becomes ordered. What was frantic becomes steady. God, I pray, teach me to rest in the rhythm of your time. Let my racing thoughts fall grain by grain, not in storms. Let me trust that each has its place. Each will come in season. Each will end when it must. Here is the blessing for this night. May every thought find its place among the grains. May none race ahead. May none be lost. May time become gentle again. May peace flow steady, one breath, one grain, one moment at a time. So I lie down, hearing the hush of falling sand within me. My mind no longer scatters, it flows. Each thought waits its turn. Each breath follows the rhythm.